Page 2, Just Struttin Along. This piece is a jazz style piece. A few things about it that I'd like to talk about. This is assuming you can read music, because if you can't read music, I would encourage you to go do a level 1 method book somewhere and learn to read music before you tackle this. This is going to be hard enough even if you can read music. At the beginning, in the right hand, you see an 8VA underneath the top staff there. Remember, in an 8VA, if it's above the staff, you go up. If it's below the staff, you go down. So in this case, the notes are written here. But with the 8VA under it, we're going to go down here. And the second measure, there's no 8VAs, so they would be up here where they're written. And the third measure, going into the next line, there's an 8VA. So you're down here. That's the end of the 8VA until you get to the bottom of the page. I don't want to point them all out. You know where they are. You can see where the 8VA is. It's underneath the top staff. You go down. Let's talk about the rhythm, because some people have a lot of trouble in rhythm. What I would hope you can do is read the music and figure out the rhythm. What I hope you do not do is listen to somebody else play it first and just copy what they do. Now, there's a note at the top for eighth notes equal a quarter note, eighth note thing, 2 eighth notes. What they want you to do is swing the eighth note. So they want you to play them uneven, or long, short, long, short. For instance, look at the last measure of the first line on page 2. Just in the right hand, on the eighth notes, they're here. Just the eighth notes. But if I swing them, long, short, it's this. Bom, ba, bom, ba, ba, that type of thing. They want you to do that. Now when I'm talking about rhythm here, I'm going to leave out the swing. We're just going to play them straight first, and then we can add the swing later. Second line, I don't see any problem in rhythm in the first line. Second line, the last 2 measures, that rhythm can get tricky, and this rhythm is all over the place. So if you can get it here, you can get it everywhere else. In the right hand, it starts with an 8th rest. Now this is the second measure of the second line. So it's like a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, because it's a 4/4 time. So 1 is a rest. Then you come in on and. 1 and 2 and 3 and. So that, you get that? Now there's a tie on the last note. The 2 E's are tied. So when you play the first E, you're just going to hold it down for the rest of the measure. If I play that measure without the tie, it's this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. But if I play it with the tie, I just hold that E down. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. In the next measure, again we have a rest on beat 1. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. If I take out the tie temporarily, because it throws people sometimes, and this is a way of doing it, you just take out the tie temporarily, and it would be this way. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. When you can get that okay, you put the tie back in. You think playing the note, but you're holding down the previous note. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now while I'm here, I want to point out the fingering. In this measure, you're starting out with 4th finger, but for the last 2 eighth notes, they're suggesting thumb, because you're in a 5-finger position, and then cross over. That's okay if that's what you want to do, but it's unnecessary. In my opinion, we can simply, rather than using the thumb on the A, just reach the index finger down 1. You don't have to cross over at all. Just remember that on the next measure, your thumb's on the G. You don't want it on a G, you want it on an A, so you got to come back up. But you get an eighth rest. You can do that. So if I play the last measure of the second line and the first measure of the third line, it's this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and like so. So all I'm doing is avoiding crossing over the thumb. It's up to you how you finger it. The same passage anywhere else, again, up to you how you want to do it. I want to talk about articulation, but I'll wait for a little bit because I want to go over the left hand first. The left hand mimics the right hand in a lot of this. It's the same rhythm you can see at the beginning, the first line. Both hands are playing basically an octave apart is what it is. You're down here, and then you're up here, and then you're down here again, and then that's sort of an introduction to it, and then it takes off. So the left hand, there's no biggie here except the articulation, and I want to talk about that, but both hands are involved. Make sure you put in the staccatos. The only pedaling in this piece is the last measure, so don't pedal anything else. That just messes it up. Jazz doesn't need that kind of stuff. Accents and staccatos are important in jazz, so follow them exactly as they're written here. At the beginning, we got 2 staccatos, and then an accent on the first one. And then second measure is a little softer. Accent. And then the third measure, watch these accents because they don't necessarily come on the beat. And that's jazz for you. A lot of times an accent in jazz comes on the upbeat or between the beats. And that last measure is a good example of that. Need to swing the eighth notes. Ba-da-da-bum is what we're after. So follow the articulation very carefully on this. If you're not sure when to accent generally in jazz, you can just put in an accent on the ands between the beat. If I play, give me a measure, let's go to the top of page 3. The first line in the right hand, we have that. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then I swing them. Well, I can accent, put a little accent on the short notes. That's jazz. You can do that. I experiment and have some fun. You gotta feel it. It's just not a mechanical. It's mechanical when you're first learning the piece, but once you get it, you gotta feel jazz. Now, at the end, bottom of page 3, there's a parentheses, no writ. They're reminding you, don't slow down. Keep right on going, same speed throughout the whole piece. And that last measure, you're down here because here it's where it's written. And you got the pedal down and it's gonna keep the sound going for you. And then you get the last note. Now what is that, or the last chord? And what is that mess? Well, you got a D sharp with the stem going down, so you're going to play that with the left hand. Remember, notes with the stems going down when it's all in one staff. Then notes with the stems going down, usually left hand, and stems going up would be the right hand. Right, left, whatever. Yeah. D sharp, and then in the right hand you have an E and an A, and that's the chord. Isn't that wonderful? Then you have the pedal on that, so you got this, and then this. Of course, it's very soft. I didn't do it very soft because I like to do things loud, but this is very soft. You're medium soft there at the end, and at the last one, it's really soft. Yeah, really soft. Hardly hear that note. It's just like an echo. It's like an afterthought. Now there's a fermata over the last note. There just means hold on to it. When I play with a metronome, I typically just double the value. So I'm going to hold that last eighth note or last half note chord for 4 counts. Now I'm not going to show my pedaling because we're only pedaling one measure. Hopefully you can do that. So let's try this together slowly, very slowly, just so you can check your notes and the rhythms and all. You put in the dynamics, I'm just going to play the notes because I want you to hear them. So, where are we at here? It's in the key of A minor. No sharps or flats except for the accidentals. 4/4 time. Go ahead and put your foot on the pedal now so it's ready at the end. Rather than putting your foot up and down off the pedal, just put it on. I'll give us 4 counts, so we'll play this slowly. 1, 2, ready, and go. And rest, 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 rest. 1, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, off. I don't know if there's any recordings of this around. I haven't looked. Maybe some people have recorded it and put it up. That would be great. But just in case, I'll go ahead and play it as I would interpret it. You might play it a little differently, that's fine.